I don't know how to start this, but welcome to my first movie review, I guess. So last night I got to see Barbarian, the new horror movie directed by Cregger, starring Georgina, Campbell, Bill Skarsgaard, and Justin Long. And I thought it was great. I loved it. Just right off the bat, I thought it was an excellent horror movie. I'm pretty new to horror. I really just got into it about a few years ago when I was starting out, kind of like getting really into movies when I was about 16. Well, not really into movies, but getting really into like expanding my taste when I was about like 16, 17. I saw the new Halloween, and I saw like John Carpenter's original from 77 just before that, and I loved it. Like, or 78, jeez. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was an awesome. And so ever since then I've kind of just been trying to expand my taste a little bit, get into horror. And I think it's like one of my favorite genres, probably next to like action and superhero movies. But horror is quickly becoming one of my favorite genres for sure. I really love everything that they can do with it. And I think that it's a great medium to tell really deep stories and really personal stories and be able to tie them in with a lot of interesting themes like they do in Barbarian. And there's been a lot of talk about the marketing and kind of how they kept a lot of it secret and how they kind of didn't reveal a ton in the marketing. And so I'm gonna try and be brief and not spoil. So this is my first like review I'm posting to YouTube. I don't really know how to do this. I'm gonna start talking. Something I liked, like the positives right off the bat, is I thought the cast was all great. I thought the effects were great. Like everything looked incredible. Definitely one of like the best looking movies that I've seen all year. I thought all the shots like and the cinematography were incredible, especially kind of getting into like the deeper mysteries of the house and kind of exploring everything beyond that. I thought it did a great job of like establishing the tension and the mystery and kind of showing just how creepy this place really was. And I love that. I thought the basic story was really great setup, really creative with everything, and really just a great way to delve into some like terror. And the first act especially, like up until a certain point, if you've seen the movie, you know the point. Up until a certain point, it literally was like leaving me with the biggest feeling of uneasiness and dread just going into it, and it just kind of teetered on that line for such a long time. I was really impressed with how they did that. It was really creepy. It creeped me out pretty good. And I saw it with one of my friends, Caleb, who is a big horror guy, and he said it made him jump a few times. So, I mean, that's an achievement. It definitely had a few jump scares that were earned. Like two that I specifically remember got me pretty good. So yeah, I thought it was excellent, and just building up that tension, especially in the first act. And then I don't know how to say this. It kind of like switches gears a little bit. Maybe about like 30, 45 minutes into the movie, it switches gears pretty heavily. And I actually really enjoyed that. After the first act of just like pure horror, it kind of like lifts its foot off the gas pedal a little bit. Not pure horror, but like after tension and being creepy for like a whole 30, 45 minutes, it kind of eases up a little bit, and it gets into another character that I really enjoyed. That's Justin Long's character, AJ. He's super just a big douchebag, big prick. I hated him, but he was really fun to watch. He was just like the biggest moron, and he gave like a great performance. I thought it was funny to see him kind of just like disrespecting everyone around him, only cares about himself. And I thought it tied into kind of how the movie wraps itself up later on, how he kind of treats people, and you can see from the beginning kind of how his character, not how his character is going to end up, but you can see how his character kind of lies with like how his moral compass is, I guess is a good way to put it. So I thought he did a great job, but the movie definitely centers around Georgina Campbell's character, and her performance was really standout. I thought it was great. She's a great actress. I think that's the first thing I've seen her in. She looks familiar. I could be wrong, but she did a great job of being like a smart horror character. Kind of like, you know, there's a scene where she's in the basement, she finds something, and she's like, no way. I thought that was awesome. I love that. I thought that was a really funny and creative way to just kind of show how horror characters can be really stupid sometimes, and how she kind of broke that trope. I thought that was sweet. And then Bill Skarsgård, he did a great job. He's Pennywise, and so going in from that, I was a little kind of like nervous. I was like, okay, this movie's just gonna be all about him just being a psychopath. Like I hadn't seen the trailers, I'd seen a poster. Maybe I'd seen a trailer in front of Nope. I don't really remember it that much, but I was like, okay, this movie's just gonna be Bill Skarsgård being a psycho. And it's not that. Like, it's something completely different. And I really loved kind of where they went with it. It keeps you guessing the entire time, and then there's a little bit of like payoff, like you see some things in the movie near the beginning, maybe in the first act, and that setup that, you know, kind of got on my mind. I was like, what the heck is that? What is that? And then it kind of pays off later on down the line. I thought that was really creative, and I loved the way that they kind of did that. I mean, I love when movies are smart and don't tell you everything immediately, even though it can be a little frustrating sometimes. It definitely paid off for this movie here. And I'm loving the, like, just a side note, I'm loving the jump from comedy to horror for a lot of these guys. Like Zach Cregger, I believe he did a bunch of sketch comedy a while ago, but also Jordan Peele is the obvious one. And then Danny McBride as well. He made the jump from, like, I just watched Land of the Lost with my roommates this week, so Land of the Lost and like Eastbound and Down and Hot Rod. He made that jump to like Halloween. He helped write Halloween, maybe Halloween Kills, I'm not sure. But he helped write Halloween, which I really loved actually. And then he also he starred in Alien Covenant, which I think is a fun like slasher movie. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's making that jump and doing that change of pace. But overall, I really liked the movie. Definitely would give it a recommendation if you are a horror fan or into like just like what the F is happening in these movies, you know, like movies like that. I would definitely give it a recommendation. It definitely takes a sharp turn and it keeps you guessing the entire runtime. So I really love that. Getting into some like mixed aspects is it's a really funny movie. It definitely mixes horror and comedy. The director uses a lot of his comedy roots in the movie, and I think some of it paid off, some of it didn't quite pay off. There's a few moments, especially one in the end, last like 5 minutes, that I wasn't sure if it was like comedy or if it just looked weird on purpose, but it definitely reminded me of like, oh man, like sometimes in the Halloween movies when they say something stupid and you kind of feel that awkwardness of trying not to laugh because it's not funny, but also it's like super cringe. It's kind of how it felt in that one moment. There are a few other moments maybe that were supposed to be played as comedic but weren't quite as funny as maybe they thought it was. But overall, I thought the humor really landed. I really enjoyed everything I did with that as well. Towed the line between horror and comedy pretty nicely, which a lot of movies can't really do these days, so I liked that a lot. And then another mixed aspect for me maybe is just sometimes there's a few jumps and conclusions, and sometimes there's a few maybe one too many, like leading you up and then completely switching, for my taste maybe. But I think overall it ended up paying off pretty nicely, but it can be a little frustrating to watch, especially if you're kind of wondering where it's going to go. But if you're a fan of Malignant from last year, which I am for sure, then you'll love this movie. It's definitely got the same, maybe not the same vibe, but definitely the same like quick switch into just not what you expected it to be. So I thought that was awesome. I'm loving how maybe the marketing isn't playing up everything in this movie. Same with they did in Malignant, which I think is awesome. As for negatives right now, I can't really think of one, honestly. I think it was a pretty well-rounded film overall. Maybe just the first act was a super tension heavy, so I think on rewatch it might not hold up as well, since you kind of know where everything is going and you might just be wanting to get to that payoff a little bit. That might just be me being super impatient, but overall I really enjoyed the movie. Definitely give it like a 9 out of 10. Better than Venom 2 and Morbius for sure. It kind of slits between my favorite horror films of the year, along with Nope, Scream, and then probably a little bit above The Black Phone. I didn't really think The Black Phone was anything super great, but hey, you know, sometimes you just have those opinions. But well, thanks for watching. I think I might have some more in the future, just something I'm gonna test out for right now. Yeah, hopefully I post this. Just gonna go to class and edit it, so see ya.